All right, guys, welcome to Wide Awake News Radio, hour number 2 on this 10th day of December, Monday. And I want to thank Gary Hendershot and the Alternative Energy Hour. Smart Scarecrow is his program on Justin TV. You can just go to Justin TV, or you can just go to Google and put in The Smart Scarecrow Show. Listen to it every Thursday night at the same time as this program. That's why he can't be on here recording this for us. Gary Hendershot every Thursday night, 5 o'clock West, 5 West and 80s, just like this program. All right, I'm going to get right into it. I want to bring Chris Atkin on of BuyEmergencyFoods.com. We had him on here a little bit ago. Tonight we're going to kind of have a discussion of what's going on. And the reason I'm doing this is because I just finished a podcast with Ed Corcoran. You guys saw me in the chat room during Gary's program towards the end there. I swear I just felt the earthquake. The camera just shake. I swear I just felt one. Oh, well, I'll check into that and I'll give you more info during the program. The first half hour of Gary's program tonight, I was on with Ed Corcoran in doing his podcast, and it had all to do with the current conditions we are at. And you know, his podcast has everything to do with prepping, and it's amazing. It's amazing to me where we're at, and everybody that I talk to, regardless if they're in the prepping community or if they're in the business community, everybody feels that something is about to bust. It's about to bust loose. All right, we have about 40 people in the chat. If you want to join them, please go to wideawakenews.com. Click on the radio microphone. That will take you into the chat room. Once you're in there, you can call in with the 800 number, 877-342-6673, or you can leave comments and questions in there for myself and for Chris. Chris Atkin, BuyEmergencyFoods.com. Welcome back to the program. How are you, my friend?
What's up? How you doing, Charlie?
You just gave me a shout out. What's up? Let me tell you what's up. I'm gonna break this down a little bit for you. I'm gonna tell you what's up. Gold sales are up. November, 131%. I'm gonna tell you what else is up. The amount of money that China is spending in this country trying to turn their dollars into tangible assets, namely property, $7 billion increase in the amount of property they're buying over here. Let me tell you what else is up in this country right now. I mean, in 2012, December, we have TSA creating a new list to put people on. It's not enough that we have a terrorist watch list. Now we have them creating a new list altogether for the folks that just don't quite fit the terrorist mold. We'll make another list for them. Let me tell you one other thing that's up, Chris. We have the Vader drone coming out now that will be able to track and follow citizens in this country automatically from 25,000 feet. So there's a lot of stuff up. There's a lot of things going on. Every single one of them seems to point to one thing, and this is what Ed and I were talking about when I was on his podcast. Maybe these Mayans weren't so dang crazy. You know, we were kind of joking around about that a little bit during his podcast, but things are seeming to unravel. And guys, you know what? I know that we hear this a lot. And I know that that there's a lot of propaganda on the mainstream talking about fiscal cliff's going to be solved, everything's going to be okay, we got the answers at hand. And if you just dig even minutely below that fluff, you realize that nothing can be further from the truth. Things are seeming to be becoming more unstable almost every single day. Chris?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm concerned. I'm very concerned. That's why, and I've been so for a while. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. You know, I'm out here trying to live a lifestyle where I'm resilient. My lifestyle, I'm trying to make it more resilient to where outside factors don't impact whether I eat or not. You know what I mean? I'm concerned about the fiscal cliff, not so much, but this crazy debt that we have and that we can never pay back. I'm really concerned about that. I have a moral dilemma because I'm paying taxes for these endless wars, you know, and I don't like war. Why am I obligated to support this empire? I wish there was a way to opt out, but there's not, and so we're in trouble, and I'm very, very concerned.
Me too, and I apologize if my audio was bad, Gary. You're probably going to tell me at the break it was, because I just realized that I had the wrong mic picking up my feed. So I'm going to go ahead and get that fixed before I get yelled at, because surely that is coming during the break. You know, opt out. You said that there's really no way to opt out, and you're right. We're stuck in this system. You're kind of right. You're kind of right. you are opting out in your own way. You're becoming more self-sufficient. You've moved out of the Salt Lake proper, and you're in the sticks a little bit. You're able to. I shouldn't give away your undisclosed location, but I guess I just did. You're figuring out how you can grow your own food, how you can have your own protein sources there. You're taking the time to put in your own product to so that you know that you can provide for you and your family during a crisis. So in a way, you are opting out. You're opting out of the delusion that everything's going to be okay when it all comes flying apart, because you're smart enough to realize that they're not going to take care of you. They're not going to take care of you when Katrina happened. They're not going to take care of you when Sandy happened. They're certainly not going to be able to take care of you when it's a complete and utter economic collapse or some kind of natural disaster that's on a far larger scale than anything we've seen. So in one way, you're to be commended because you are kind of opting out of relying on governance.
Well, that's interesting. I guess in a way, you're right. You're right. I am. I'm trying to detach from the matrix as much as possible, and that's good. But unfortunately, if I stop paying taxes, people with guns come and take my stuff, which is unfortunate, right?
Yes, it is unfortunate.
But
yes,
so here's something though that you said something earlier that I wanted to just kind of to talk about.
Please do.
So you said something like people sense that something is coming, right? And I totally agree with you. I think that humans, we're all interconnected somehow. I don't know how that works, but I think there's this sixth sense that a lot of people are picking up on, and it's happening more and more. I think as we draw closer and closer to this event, whatever it is. But basically, something is coming, and a lot of people can feel it, but a lot of people don't know what to do about it, right? And so I'm glad that you are doing what you're doing. I'm trying to do my thing to get people prepared. You're doing your thing. And I think, hopefully more of us can do this in our own way to get people ready for this event, whatever it is.
Well, you know what? And here's the deal. And this I don't hope this doesn't sound too negative, but I'm almost to the point, Chris, where it's the people that I care about and the extended, my family and my extended family. I look in here in this chat room every night, and there's 40, 50, 60 people in there every single night hanging around for 2 hours. And they've been here with me. A lot of these guys from the very get-go are the folks who watch all these videos on YouTube and have been with me from the get-go. This is my focus. It's starting to shift because I'm starting to understand that the time of trying to wake people up before this thing happens is rapidly passing. So now I'm spending more time talking to the people who know what's coming and trying to get them to understand or get them to be motivated to do something to take care of themselves. Now, oops, I just smashed my table. Sorry, camera, or sorry, Justin TV. To take care of themselves and their family, because I don't think we're going to have this mass awakening prior to any kind of major collapse. And again, Ed and I were talking about this when I was talking with him earlier today, that there is no mass awakening coming, right? There is no third party. There is no Ron Paul coming to the rescue. There is no movement like Occupy or Tea Party that's going to grab hold and wake people up. Sorry, it isn't going to happen. I had hope for that as well, as much as the next person, to the point that I didn't mind marching in the streets in 2008 with the Tea Party movement. I didn't mind because I thought maybe we had a chance of turning things around. I'm completely to the point of view of Eric Lovely that you can hold every sign you want to, you can write every petition you want to, you can call every senator and congressman that you want to, and only thing you're going to do is frustrate yourself because the system is so completely and utterly and totally corrupted that the only solution is, the only hopefully peaceful solution is we go through this collapse and have people on the backside of it that were crying from the rooftops from the get-go. But the notion that your neighbor might wake up, if they're not going to wake up now, they're probably not going to until it's far, far too late. And so I want to talk about what you've done to prepare for yourself, your family, and your extended family. And maybe we talk a little bit about the necessity for being a little bit discreet on some of these purchases. We're going to be back with Chris Atkin of BuyEmergencyFoods.com. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio. It is the 10th day of December, Monday, and Chris Atkin of BuyEmergencyFoods.com is our guest for this hour. You might be asking why we've had him on again so quick. Guys, it's, Karen had a really great idea and something that I never thought of, which is we need to get Gabe on, we need to get Seeds Now on, we need to get Chris on, because it's coming into, we're right before Christmas. I make no apologies for that. I really believe in the products that these guys are selling, and it's worked out absolutely phenomenally Gabe's not coming on until this week because we couldn't, with the internet issues last week, get him on. And I know that they're selling so much precious metals right now that I don't know if we're going to have any great specials from him. But with seedsnow.com and with BuyEmergencyFoods.com, we've launched two specials, two programs within the last week to 2 weeks, and they've been absolute home runs for not only the sponsors but the folks who took advantage of these deals. Chris, what did we do on the last one? Refresh my memory, because all I know is I spent like $700.
Well, yeah, you were super generous. You bought the product from us and
Right.
gave it away to 10 lucky, fast-moving listeners. So
Right, and I remember you and I were having a conversation during the break on that program about, maybe would have 3 or 4 that took advantage of the package by the morning, but it'll run on YouTube. And I think before Gary could even get it uploaded on YouTube, you sent me a message saying they were done.
yeah, people jumped on that offer because it was an awesome offer. And I think within like 2 hours of the show, we had 6 during the show, and then the 4 to round it out like 2 hours after the show.
Yeah, and you even had a few people calling in afterward.
Yeah, we did, asking for it, and we were actually able to make some people happy because of what they were trying to buy. We were able to hook them up. So actually, it was more than 10 people, but we'll have to do that again sometime.
Yeah, I couldn't afford to do any more, buddy. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That was it, and it was a good deal. And the reason I did that is because, again, I appreciate everybody showing up here every night, and I want you guys to have this stuff. I have it. It's absolutely fantastic product, and I want you to get it, and I want you to spend. If you have dollars, if you have Federal Reserve notes, I want you to buy this kind of thing because I believe it is important for your future, and I think it's so much more a better investment than buying some trinket or some kind of gizmo for the Christmas season. I can't even imagine a better gift for someone than to get them that 72-hour emergency kit or something along those lines that they can just put in the closet, forget they have it until they need it. Which brings me to with only a couple minutes in this segment, somebody in the chat when I was talking about is it time to be a little more covert, they mentioned stealth, and I never even considered that before until maybe the last couple times you were on, and I'd see that comment come up in there, like, are you worried about being a prepper, people knowing, talking about these guys coming on these prepper programs, and are they worried about people knowing? And it does make sense, doesn't it? I mean, are you getting a lot of requests for folks that want it in a brown paper wrapper just so they don't have, everybody knowing where all the chow is going to be?
Well, actually, from the beginning, we've always boxed it in plain boxes. So, we're aware, since, I'm a prepper, my partners they get this stuff too. And we don't want to advertise the fact that when we drop, 13 boxes of something on someone's doorstep, we don't want the neighbors to know it's food. And we respect our customers with their operational, quote unquote, operational security.
OPSEC, baby.
OPSEC.
OPSEC. Yeah, it's also, you were in the military too, correct?
No, I wasn't, but
I thought
I was cool enough to be. I just never did.
Okay. Well, there was a YouTube channel that I don't want to get into it now. It's hilarious. I'll tell you the story some other time off. But it was a kid that obviously wanted to be in the military. And when I say kid, he's 30 years old, and every other word out of his mouth was OPSEC. We got to protect our OPSEC. Our OPSEC's in danger. That kind of thing.
Well, so it's important. Sometimes I think man, am I stupid by going on this show and telling people I'm building a little farm? I mean, but then I'm like, actually no, because I want people to start thinking about this stuff. I live somewhere where most people wouldn't find me. I guess if you're that good and you really wanted to, you could do that. But there's a lot of people that have way more resources and way more cows and stuff than I do. So I'm like a small target, if anything, really. I mean, I just want people to think about, hey, look, you need to build some resiliency into the way you live. Right. And if that's having food storage, cool. That's a good step. That's a huge step. If that's storing water, absolutely. If you want to take it to the next level and you're like, hey, maybe I want to have chickens and eggs, I support that.
I agree with your point of view, and I agree with what you're doing 100%. And I think it's not only advisable, I think it's almost a point where it's mandatory. We're going to be back with Chris Atkin of BuyEmergencyFoods.com and more Wide Awake News Radio in just a few minutes, guys. Hang tight. Guys, welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio. Charlie McGrath, Chris Atkin of BuyEmergencyFoods.com. And during the break, I'm like, Chris, come on, man, it's Christmas. And he got the spirit, and he decided that he wanted to give something away. So here's what we're going to do. And I don't know how we're going to do it yet because we just now formulated this plot. But 60 serving entree bucket. It's a $175 value, regular price over at BuyEmergencyFoods.com. Chris, this is all Chris now at BuyEmergency Foods. He's taking care of this one himself. Is going to give this $175 bucket away to someone on the program tonight. And I think what we'll do is I'm going to let Chris be the judge. I'm going to pull for the rest of the program questions out of chat on the field of preparation or the field that Chris is an expert in, which is freeze-dried storable food. If you have a question, put it into the chat. I'll write down as many as I can. If you want to guarantee that your question gets heard by Chris, then call in at 877-342-6673, 877-342-6673, and you can ask your question or state or make your comment on air. Chris will definitely hear it, and then I'm going to let him pick at the end of the program which question he wants to give away this gift to. So this is certainly just for the audience that's listening live now on Rinse or Oracle. Obviously, if you're listening to this on YouTube, it is done and over with and too late. So get on the phone, 877-342-6673. Get into chat. Post your question there. I can't guarantee you that I'm going to read the question if you put it in chat, though. I can if you call in. We'll get it on the air. Does that sound fair, Chris?
Yeah, it sounds good. And I pasted the link into the chat so people can see what is all involved with that 60 serving entree bucket.
Very good. And then if he selects you as the winner, what we'll do is I'll have you send me at info@wideawakenews.com. Well, I'll figure it out. I'll figure out how to do that. We've done that before. We'll get the information. The only thing is we can't send it to a P.O. box. We got to send it to a residential address or a business address. Okay, so let's move on with the program here. Bonnie's probably formulating a question because she just said woot, $175 deal for free, so she'll be all over it. Bonnie, I'm sorry. Gary, Karen, you guys are not eligible. Maybe you'll get one for Christmas. Maybe I'll put together a care package for you guys for Christmas. Looking at, we're talking about trying to keep it covert, trying to keep it the OPSEC, as it were, in the clear or, secure. I can kind of understand that, but, the one thing that I always thought about when I heard that argument is if you have somebody that is if you have somebody that is going to the lengths of preparing for food, and putting food storage in, if I was going, if I'm noticing the guy across the street having this stuff, I've got to think to myself, he's got a way to protect it, right? So, I mean, to me, the argument's kind of lost unless you have a gang of roaming thugs that are just willing to, they're so hungry they're willing to do anything to get your food.
Well, I mean, I don't. So it just the scenarios. There's a myriad of scenarios, right? And it just depends on how long this collapse lasts. How long is it going to take for the government to come up with the new currency, right? I mean, the dollar definitely, in my opinion, is going to collapse. It's going to be devalued. I think we're going to see a hyperinflationary scenario. Unfortunately, because that's kind of the only thing, the direction we're going. That's the only outcome that I can really see, because the population is shrinking. We can't grow our way out of it by consumption, right?
Right.
And the government's not stopping spending. I mean, it's gonna continue to spend above and beyond its revenue means. So basically, I think you and I agree that there's gonna be some sort of collapse. How long that collapse lasts and how, when you're gonna need to defend your position, who knows? I mean, every situation is gonna be different. But I think you're right. In general, the premise is if somebody is smart enough to have some backup food storage, they're also going to be thinking about, how do I protect my family
That's
if
right.
people want to take it. So that's the bottom line. Hopefully looters would know that, and they would try to figure
Well,
out.
and that's one reason why I do appreciate, you coming on here and talking about this stuff. And actually, the folks on the prepper shows and stuff, they're, I'm sure, taking a calculated risk. And I think for the most part, these guys, a few of them I've talked to, I think their hearts are in the right place. They want people to be prepared. And let's face it, one aspect of it is, you can say, if you can do something to get your neighbor prepared, that's just one less person that you have to worry about. More importantly, it's one more little coalition that you build. Okay, we have a question out of the chat, and we have a caller on the line. So I'm going to take the question out of the chat first, because it came in first. It was from Buddy. The importance. Why is it important? Because they hear the commercials that I do for you, where you're talking about nitrogen flushed Mylar bag. Why is it important to have nitrogen flushed bag? What's the importance of nitrogen?
Well, we do. It's basically to remove any kind of oxygen, right? Because oxygen destroys the nutrients over time and can lead to bacteria and stuff, bad stuff. But basically, we do more than just nitrogen flush. We definitely flush out everything with nitrogen, but then we drop in an oxygen absorber pack, which if you look on our chart, and actually we've got some third-party testing done, the residual oxygen content on most of our pouches, the average is 0.40, 0.48%. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's why we want to make sure that this food will be there when you need to use it. Hopefully not ever, but maybe you will.
Is it the oxygen absorber that goes in after you flushed out, using nitrogen to flush out the Mylar bag? That's how it achieves a 25-year, right? It absorbs all that oxygen, so there's nothing that can grow bacteria.
Well, it's more than that, though. So the Mylar bags are dark; they keep out any kind of light, which attacks food as well, and will leach nutrients. So it's basically, you've got a few things at play. You want to take out all the fats, because fats go rancid. You want to take out all the water, because there's oxygen in the water. And so that's why we do freeze-dried and dehydrated. We put it in light-proof pouches. Then we do our best to get as much residual oxygen out of that pouch. And then it's really up to our customers to put that bucket in a place that's at least room temperature or colder. And if you do all those things, if the customer will just do that, then they'll have a 25-year shelf life for this food.
All right, I want to get to Mike before we go to this break. We got a caller from Utah, your neck of the woods. Mike from Utah, thanks for calling. I appreciate you holding. What's up?
Hey, great. I'm glad to have the opportunity to ask a question and maybe make one observation. My question is how much energy does it take to actually prepare these packages, this Mylar? Do you just heat them in water? I mean, it's going to be important. Can you just put a little hot water in them and they reconstitute, or do I need to boil them, or what?
That's a great question, and I've got a little bit of experience with that, because I did that. I've cooked it in my home, but then I took it out and did that video where I practice the get home routine in a crisis situation. But and I'm gonna tell you my experience, and then I'll let Chris give me his take on it. What is the minimum you could do? I think you can just put water in it and it'll eventually hydrate. What I did is I had a little cook stove, a little kerosene cook stove, And as soon as I got the product to start to boil, it thickened right up, and it was very quick. I mean, I would say that on the chili that we ate there, the chili pack, it was within 15 minutes of it boiling. We were letting it cool down to eat it. So it was like preparing any mix that you'd get at the grocery store. I didn't notice any difference in as far as the cook time, except you, Chris, you might get a little bit with some of the vegetables wanting to absorb a little bit more. You might have a little bit longer wait time in there than you would with something just out of the supermarket. Your thoughts?
Yeah, basically.
Wait a minute.
Right.
Hold on.
Okay.
I got the music playing. I didn't hear it. But Mike, hang on the line, and we'll be back with Chris Atkin at BuyEmergencyFoods.com and more of your questions right after this. Hang tight. Guys, welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio. Charlie McGrath, Chris Atkin at BuyEmergencyFoods.com. And we were talking during the break, and those of us on Justin TV, those of you who listen on JTV, were hearing us talk. And I don't think I've said it, or you have either, Chris, during the program. But all of BuyEmergencyFoods.com, Legacy Premium Freeze-Dried Storable Food, is 100%. I mean, it's without a doubt the most healthy freeze-dried storable food in the market. You guys have spent a lot of time and a lot of money getting it certified to be just that, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm concerned about GMO for my family. My partners understand this stuff. We want to offer the most healthy product we can, and it's really. I guess it's at the end of the day, it's not that hard to do. Yeah, it's tens of thousands of dollars and it takes time and everything, but it's doable. The question is kind of like, why don't other companies do this? I'm not really sure. For example, we have competitors that don't put in the oxygen pack. We have competitors that don't want to spend the 5 cents to do that or to source non-GMO product. I guess in a way it's good because, we have a differentiator that they don't have. They're not interested in giving that the best product possible, but we are, and so hopefully we'll benefit from that. Hopefully people will choose our stuff because they know when the time comes, they're not going to be eating tons of sodium and bad calories and MSG and sugar. They're going to have real stuff like beans and pasta and good spices, and it tastes great too. That's the other thing.
There's no doubt about it. I've had it. I've been to the facility, and I know that's what quality is. What you guys are all about down there. All right, let's answer. Before we run out of time, we have Kim from Ohio on, and she's going to come on here in just a sec. But let's answer Mike's question. He asked about the prep time compared to is there anything special about it as far as the prep time? You heard my answer to it, which was it just seemed like it was like mixing up any other packaged food. Except for some of the product is freeze dried, so it might have a little more time to reconstitute. But besides that, it was really similar to cooking any packaged food.
It's basically like if you've ever made Kraft mac and cheese. It's pretty much the same type of process. You could make our food with just cold water if you had it. Hopefully, you would have filtered that or something and treated it before you did that. But the best way to reconstitute it is to pour it in a pot, boil it up. For 10 or 15 minutes, and then let it set a little bit. And then usually all the vegetables and the beans and the rice reconstitute really well, and it's delicious stuff.
Yeah, and so cold water, is it just mixing it and eat it, or do you mix it and let it soak for a period of time? Like you can do that with rice, right?
Well, basically you're just adding the water back in. The heat helps it absorb faster, right? Reabsorb. But if you were in a pinch and you didn't have a way to heat it up, by the way, we offer cooking kits, and I think people should have some propane and should have some ways to do this to heat water. That's the best way to do it. But if you were really in a pinch, you could use cold water. It would just take you like 30 minutes versus 15 minutes.
Mike, you held this whole time, so I want if you had something else you want to say, I want to give you a minute to do so. So please go ahead.
The solar oven would be a good idea to reconstitute that thing in like 9 months out of the year, most of the places in North America. I really like that. And the fact that it's lightweight and you can carry it. Everybody should have that in your bug-out bag. I have some dehydrated food. I do not have this. This is a new supplier for me, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
But I do have some survival And but I would suggest you have that in your bug out bag, and you have some foil in your bucket, and you can actually do it all in. You could reconstitute it a lot quicker with the solar oven. And the other thing I want to say is this: I know it's important that everybody prepares and everybody has all of these things, but at this point, we all need to think about in the future turning your yard into a garden, and maybe school campuses and some government properties, and maybe even golf courses, right?
Yeah. In fact, Chris, our other Chris from Seeds Now, they offer seed bombs. You can buy seed bombs, and you throw these into lots that are overgrown with weeds, and you throw them in there, and you forget about them. It's packed with soil and clay, and it just sprouts up different kind of edible plants that are taking over some of these abandoned lots. Great questions, Mike. Now, we've got your number, so if Chris picks your question, then Brett will call you back and let you know. So I appreciate the call, and I appreciate the question. But I want to, with about 6 minutes left, I want to jump over to Kim from Ohio. Kim, thanks for holding. What is your question for Chris?
I wanted to know if you could bury this food, and if you did, what kind of container you would put it in.
Ooh, that's a good one, and they're ready for it.
Yeah, it's a great question. Actually, all of our stuff comes in buckets, plastic buckets. They're BPA free. The food never touches them, except the pouches touch the bucket. But basically, you could dig a hole, you could put them in the ground, and actually, that's not a bad way to do it, because the ground temperature, as long as you go a little bit deeper, it will maintain like 65 degrees. Charlie, is that what the normal ground
about 5 feet down,
is?
I think you're about 60 degrees constant. Yeah.
So if you can get down there, you don't need to put it in other containers. It's already double packed. I mean, it's in pouches, and then it's in a bucket. And gophers aren't going to go for that or anything. So I think that
gophers aren't going to go for that.
They're not going to go for that. So I think that would be a great way to do it, and it would last for 25 years or more in that scenario.
That's a great question. Anything else, Kim, you wanted to add to that?
Yeah. Is there a direct number that I can use for ordering?
Absolutely. You want to give it, Chris? Or you want me to?
Sure. No, yeah. It's
888-543-7345.
There you go.
I'll say it again. 543-7345. That's our call-in number, or you can go to BuyEmergencyFoods.com, and that number is also all over their website too. And
I wanted to thanks a lot for the question. I wanted to comment on Mike's comment about how we're new. We are new. We're relatively new in the marketplace, but the people that we partnered with, they've been making this kind of food for 20 years. And so it's actually way longer than any of our competitors have been doing this. And so what happens is we have the best product out there. It tastes the best. It's the most healthy. We worked hard on that, like we talked about. But the bottom line is that it's the best price, So it's kind of a win-win for anybody that wants to purchase this kind of product.
It is the best price, and you said win-win. It's the best product. It's the best price. It's from what I've seen when I went down to your facility, and in talking to some other folks who are in this business, and seeing the difference between what the motivating factors were in being providers of this kind of commodity, this kind of food storage. The biggest selling factor to me was talking to you, meeting you guys, and understanding. The gentleman you're talking about that has over 20 years experience in this field. I met him, and this is what he's concerned about. He's concerned about the quality that goes into it. He's concerned about sourcing this stuff that's GMO free, sourcing the stuff that is that's the best, highest quality. That to me was the bigger factor than the price. Bigger factor than anything is the fact that you guys are in this because you care about people being prepared for the future.
Absolutely. I live this lifestyle. I probably do more than most people in the country do as far as building self-reliant systems, sustainable systems. I want to do aquaponics. I want to build a greenhouse. I encourage everybody to start thinking about expanding their hobbies maybe to food production, because I think in the future it's gonna do nothing but good for these people if they get into this stuff and figure it out.
No doubt about it. All right, we only have a couple minutes left, so I'm going to get the winner out here now. We had 2 calls, and I took one from the chat. Guys, I'm sorry. We started this like halfway through Chris's segment here, so we didn't get a lot of questions in there. But Chris, pick it. I mean, we have Buddy out of the chat that had the question on the importance of nitrogen. We had Mike with his questions and comments, and we had Kim from Ohio, who is going to get the free 60 serving entree bucket.
Let's let Gary pick, because I'm biased. I answered the questions. Let's let Gary pick the one.
Okay, this ought to be interesting. Gary, are you listening?
Oh man, putting the pressure on me. Well, I hate to say it, but I lean towards the how do I bury this stuff question, because frankly it's something that had come to my mind, and
okay.
I was happy to have that question posed and happy to have it answered.
Kim, if you're not on the line still, then what we'll do is we'll have Brett call you, because you called him. He's got your number, and then he'll get your address, send it to me. I'll forward it to Chris, and he will get that out to you. And just make sure you don't give Brett a P.O. box, because we can't ship it there. We need a physical address to send it to. And you know what? If you're Mike or Buddy, if you want to be mad at somebody, don't be mad at Chris. Don't be mad at me. Be mad at Gary.
I'll take the heat.
Gary, I'll take the heat.
Thanks, Gary, and congratulations, Kim.
Yep. Congratulations, Kim. And it's a great deal. I mean, it's $175 retail price. You guys have it at special right now for $150, but it's a 60 serving entree bucket. That's outstanding giveaway, Chris. I really appreciate it, because I know that's coming right out of your guys' right out of your advertising budget, and I appreciate you doing that for the guys tonight.
Well, again, I just want people to get ready, and I want people to know about our superior product, and I appreciate what you're doing. I'm glad to support you guys, and I'm glad that you're supporting us too. So thank you.
No problem. And guys, if I appreciate the people participating. If you are listening to this later on YouTube, they still do have a bunch of holiday specials going on over there. How do you find out about them, Chris? You were explaining to me a little bit, but I kind of lost track there.
Well, there's some sliders on the homepage, but basically we're giving away free gifts with a lot of our premium packages. You have to put the package in the cart to see what kind of free gift you get, but there's a lot of free stuff to be had.
Right on. Chris, thank you very much. This will be the last time we have you on before Christmas. I wish you and your family and your crew the best, and again, thank you for supporting this program. Thank you for doing what you do, providing the service that you provide. Guys, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. I appreciate it. Jeff Rentz, he's coming up next. We'll be back tomorrow night at the same time. Again, enjoy your evening. Enjoy Jeff Rentz. Have a good night. Peace.